against Woodland Hills. The Wolverines are 1-0 in the conference, PT 0-1. Derry area scored a 32-13 victory over Burrell in a non-conference game, although that was a conference matchup the last couple of years. The Buccaneers are now 0-4 on the campaign. Derry is 2-2. You can go back and listen to that game. You can also listen to Jeanette putting up 43 points against Fraser. The Jayhawks, much like Greensburg-Salem, 4-0 to start the season. That was a conference game against the Commodores. And Flick, good to see that Jeanette was really not deterred by having some players unavailable for them after that incident against Ligonier Valley.
Yeah, they had a couple of starters out, and I talked with Tom Pallone before the game for our pregame interview, and he kind of said that he needed to shuffle the deck a lot coming into that game, and he wasn't sure if Kimani Brown was going to play. He did, and he put up some good numbers as well. So that was nice to see. He was banged up too coming into. So not only have they been dealing with injuries, they had the 2 suspensions as well. Now for this week, certainly it's going to be a massive test for Jeanette with or without those guys. But again, those 2 of those starters, one of them being Lonnie Green, is going to miss another game. So they're not going to play this week against Leechburg. And so they'll have to beat a pretty darn good team without them.
Speaking of a pretty darn good team, that would certainly describe North Allegheny. 42-14, they knock off Hempfield area. Although a little misleading, we were very fixated on this score at the half. I believe Hempfield area was tied at the half against the Tigers. So it's not the outcome that they wanted, but I think that Coach Kiefer can take some solace in knowing that his team hung in there at least for half of the game against one of the best that 6A has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wouldn't see that in the past. Again, I do think this Hempfield team is a better version, certainly, than in past years. We'll see how that kind of what the results of that will be when we get to the end of the season. But I do think they are better. And but just certainly playing, North Allegheny and Central Catholic in back-to-back weeks, very tough for any team.
Yeah, certainly that is a tough opponent, as are the Gateway Gators, and they knock off Kiski area 28-7 last week. Gators actually played a couple of different quarterbacks in that game. That's something to monitor going forward. McKeesport area gets its first win of the season. It comes at the expense of the Bell Vernon area Leopards. BVA just 1-1. Remember, they played a second scrimmage instead of week 0 and then had their first game canceled, so just their second official game. The Tigers are now 1-3 on the campaign. We highlighted Greensburg-Salem winning 7-0 against Ringgold to improve to 4-0 on the campaign. Southmoreland is also looking to go to 4-0, but not to be. They fell 45-20 against Blackhawks, so the Cougars now 2-2, and the Scotties are 1-3. That was a non-conference tilt. As was Newcastle winning against York 27-7. The Cougars now 2-2 on the campaign. Ambridge area 28, Mount Pleasant area 10. The Bridgers, I think, are a much improved team. They're going to be playing Greensburg-Salem this week, but you take notice of that one as they knocked off the Vikings by 18 points. Amani Christian continues to dominate as they won 46-0 against Valley. The Vikings are now 0-4. Ligonier Valley puts up 40 points in a win against Shady Side Academy. We're going to hear from their starting quarterback, Bowie Schreyer, just a little bit later. They get a conference win. LV now 2-2. Shady Side Academy drops to 1-3. A big win for Roger Beidle's crew. Clairton, as we highlighted, 47-0 at home against Greensburg Central Catholic. And Monessen stays perfect. The Greyhounds edge Sarah Catholic 20-14. Monessen is now 4-0. And on the college side of things, Flick, you had the call of this thriller. Seton Hill 15, Bloomsburg 14. The Griffins win one at the buzzer on the road. Technically not at the buzzer. Final minute, they got the winning touchdown courtesy of Todd Phillips. A thrilling game, and everyone, I'm sure, enjoyed watching it. And you, I would say, enjoyed calling it.
I did, absolutely. My mind was spinning a little bit. We had to move you to behind the camera. So, we're both doing things that maybe we're not used to anymore. But no, it was fun. Certainly the ending was fun. To call that, and the Griffin fans were going nuts on social media, so that was pretty cool to see. I don't know that we had the best football this week, Sean, with high school football. I guess Pitt and West Virginia was exciting. Steelers, their brand of football is not really very exciting anymore, but they are 2-0. Seton Hill wasn't real exciting, but they got the win, and that's all Dan Day really cares about. So they're hoping to beat a Westchester team that's 0-2 coming into this Saturday. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful win as long as your team does win. So Dan Day, I'm sure he'll say it was a masterpiece. Speaking of wins, St. Vincent College got an impressive win, their first of the campaign, 41-20 against Allegheny. Robbie Labuda voted one of the PAC Players of the Week. He had a couple of interceptions, the former Mount Pleasant area Viking in that one. So the Bearcats are 1-1 on the campaign. Let's now look at the top performers from this past week, week 3 of the high school football season, the top passer, rusher, and receiver in the entire district, as well as several notable performers in Westmoreland County. Trey Hopper of Montour completes just 12 passes. It spans 436 yards for the Spartans.
Wait, let me get an
incredible.
Let me get the calculator out. 436 divided by, well, that is 36.3 yards of completion, Sean.
That's pretty good, I would say. Yeah, that's throwing some bombs, needless to say. Bowie Schreyer was the top Westmoreland County passer. This coming from a team that rarely throws the football, by the way. He was 9 of 11, very efficient for 255 yards. He'll be our Player of the Week interview a little bit later on. In a loss, Johnny Louver of Penn Trafford threw for 197. Anthony Smith of Southmoreland, also in a loss, threw for 196. Kimani Brown of Jeanette, 6 of 9 passing for 184 yards. And Carson Heinley of the Kiski Area Cavaliers goes for 175 through the air. The top rusher in the WPIAL this past week, California area's Lee Falk, who rushes for 259 yards. Ligonier Valley's John Jablonowski, he was the top amongst county performers with 190 yards on the ground. Kyle DePill, 161 yards in the Franklin Regional win against Greater Latrobe. Trey Corey of Burrell goes for 153 on the ground. Cam Phillips, 121 yards rushing for Southmoreland. And Greater Latrobe's Alex Tash, 112 yards rushing. And the top receiver from week 3, let me get that right. There we go. Week 3.
Week 0.
Yes, it was the fourth game for a lot of teams, but it's week 3. Either way, the top receiver, Thomas Jefferson, Braden White, 12 catches for 232 yards. Mark Jablonowski makes an appearance, the Ligonier Valley product, 8 receptions, 202 yards. Elliot Primus of Southmoreland had 109 yards receiving, and a pair of Jayhawks, also just shy of the century mark, Noah Sunder with 96, and Jace Powell with 92 yards.
Sean, I got to jump in real quick. We don't see very often where a team has a top quarterback, a top rusher, and a top receiver like Ligonier Valley has this week. They put up some massive numbers against Shadyside Academy.
Yeah, it's, again, a team that has put up some points, but usually in recent years, it's been primarily on the ground. So the fact that they unlocked this passing attack was eye-opening, to say the least. That'll do it for the top performers. We will take a break. When we come back, stick around. It is the always popular plays of the week. And we got plenty more to come as we continue right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
At Smale Kia, we know that winning takes hard work, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. By sponsoring Shining Stars, we'll select 2 teams each season to help fund their booster programs. Rewarding their hard work, athletic progress, and community service is an investment we're proud to make. Congrats to our previous Shining Star winners, and good luck. And speaking of excellence, lease a 2024 Kia Forte LXS for only $99 a month from Smale Kia.
Along the arc of a woman's life, there are many passages. Growing up, chasing dreams, building a career, embracing wisdom born of experience. There are times that make good health and well-being so vital. We provide care that helps women thrive at any age, at any stage. Independence Health System. Expert care here.
Back here on Westmoreland Sports Networks, Westmoreland on the Gridiron. Sean and Dan and Flick, do you know what time it is now?
Usually I can tell you. Plays of the week?
You got it on the first guess this time. That was impressive. It is indeed plays of the week. Let's waste No more time. We'll jump right in with Franklin Regional in a game that was dominated by the defenses. It was Panthers kicker Joey Bain who provided the only points. His fourth quarter field goal gave FR the win against Greater Latrobe, as detailed by the one and only Jonathan Whaley.
From the 5-yard line, it'll be a 22-yard field goal attempt for senior kicker Joey Bain with 5:12 to play in the game. He missed his only other attempt from 35 yards. This one is up. It's high enough, and it is good. He extra field goal with 4:59 to go. But Bain gives Franklin Regional the first points of the game. 3-0 Franklin Regional. A long drive, and then now the lights start to flicker in and out here. But Joey Bain is good. Franklin Regional draws first blood.
All right, so you're not cool unless your lights flicker anymore, right? Like, I think that's the new thing. Lights are flickering, but hey, that was a massive kick by Joey Bain. Kind of a chip shot field goal, one that he certainly had enough distance on, as he usually does. He usually boots the ball in the end zone for touchbacks. But, wow, interesting game to say the least.
Yeah, he had a goal in his soccer match on Thursday, but then missed a little bit at the end of the game because he had, so, it's one thing to say it's a chip shot, but when you know it's a 0-0 game and he'd already missed a field goal earlier in the game, that's a big-time pressure kick there, especially at the high school level. So congrats to him in providing the only points that his team needed. We continue plays the week with Penn Trafford, and although the Warriors fell to Woodland Hills, Tassa Whipple provided another highlight play, at least until the refs said otherwise. After a great catch, Whipple's hurdle was deemed a penalty to gain most of the yardage, but the effort was still spectacular, as called by myself and Jack Ridenauer.
Now they're likely going to need him. Seems like this game will be decided in the fourth quarter. Louver fakes the handoff, spins around, has Whipple open. What a design, and what a catch by Tasso, and he hurdles a player, stays in bounds, cuts back, nearly took it to the house. Spectacular before the touchdown-saving tackle by Earl Perry.
First off, the grab by Whipple, tremendous focus, and then the timing here goes right over McLeod, not to mention stays in bounds too with his momentum going that way. Tremendous run.
There is a penalty, and I believe it is for that hurdle on the Warriors. The fans aren't happy, but I believe Tasso Whipple, you said he jumped over McLeod. He jumped into the clouds on that one, but that will set back the Warriors.
All right, so first of all, whether that was a penalty or not, that was awesome. The crowd went nuts, sidelines going nuts, and then the flag comes in. There was so much debate between us, between the coaches, everybody up in the press box. Was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? John Ruane was told after the game by the officials that they mistakenly called it a penalty. So, I don't know, one of those, I guess, judgment calls. They called it hurdling, but it was a big play in the game, Sean, because I think Penn Trafford basically, it was like a 38-yard swing, because instead of having the ball 8 yards past where he went out of bounds, so 8 yards past the where the penalty took place, it went back 15 yards where the penalty took place. So a massive swing in the game. Whether it would have changed the game, I don't know, but it was certainly still a big penalty. But either way, that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, very athletic, to say the least. And I'll say this. If he gets the opportunity again, he still should probably do the same thing and hope maybe the officials won't call it next time, because it gave him extra yardage, and the fact that he stayed in bounds was probably the most incredible aspect out of all of that. So that still had to make plays of the week, I think, deservedly so. We continue plays of the week with Derry area, and the Trojans ran past Burrow in a Westmoreland County clash last week. Damari Robinson was a catalyst in the victory. His third quarter run gave Derry area a lead it would never relinquish, with John Flickinger and Bob Lisinski on the call.
Sacco from the gun on 1st and 10. Robinson to his right. Anthony will give to Damari. Damari makes a move and then gets into the secondary. Down the middle. Damari Robinson to the 20, the 10 and the 5. House call. Touchdown. Trojans.
That's the way to start off the first half. 60-yard run. Nobody was going to catch him again when he gets out in the open, John. It's see you later. Just what the Trojans needed after that fumble to end that first half.
And he just picked his way. It didn't look like he had much initially in the hole, and then he exploited it, and gone is Damari for the score. One big play, first play from scrimmage in the second half, and the Trojans.
Well, Damari Robinson did what Derry needs Damari Robinson to do on a consistent basis. He's one of their playmakers, quick, and as my brother said, he kind of picked his way and then took off, and he was gone. So certainly has that speed. He showed it on that play.
I don't know if you remember this, Flick. It was a year ago that I broadcast Derry against Borough, and that was when Ahmad Ward had maybe the game of his life. It was just incredible to watch what he did in leading the Trojans. So they've had the better of the Buccaneers the last couple of years.
Are you crediting yourself for that because you did play-by-play?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I mean, you could take credit for the Seton Hill win because you got back in the saddle. So I think that all jives.
Sounds good to me, man.
Well, we'll see who can take credit for this Jeanette win as Plays of the Week takes us with the Jayhawks, and they've proven to be dynamic on special teams this year. And that trend continued against Frazier, courtesy of Jace Powell, who gave Jeanette a 2-score lead in the opening quarter, with Brent Wiggum and Anthony D'Annunzio painting the picture.
Seacrest is going to punt this one now. Feels some pressure, gets it away. Fielded at the 36-yard line by Jace Powell on a running start. He's in the Frazier territory, cuts back at the 35, and he's got nothing but green in front of him. Give that man a touchdown. Jace Powell from the Jeanette 36 to the Jayhawk end zone.
Brent, we've seen these big plays after big plays. We've seen Jace Powell on the punt return before. We've seen him in the open field. We even saw it last week at Ligonier. Just has a way of finding a gap, seeing it, following his blockers. Give credit up there. 3 or 4 Jayhawks threw nice blocks to spring Jace.
Jace Powell is so valuable to this Jeanette team, Sean. He has so many all-purpose yards this year, whether they be on a punt, kick return, interception return, fumble return, and then, of course, what he does on offense from the wide receiver position. Man, I mean, we talk about Kimani Brown a lot and some others, but Jace Powell's pretty special.
Yeah, they make a lot of big plays offensively, but it feels like they make just as many big plays between special teams and defense so far this season. They are really rolling. Great to see at Jeanette. We will wrap up Plays of the Week with Seton Hill as the Griffins earned their first win of the season on Saturday at Bloomsburg, and they did so in dramatic fashion. A connection from Jake Cruz to Todd Phillips in the final minute gave Seton Hill the narrow W, with Dan Flickinger and Roger Downs narrating the drama.
Huskies fans making a ton of noise here. Cruz is going to go all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Seton Hill! Todd Phillips on 4th down. The Griffins have taken the lead.
Big time play by Todd Phillips. He's had 2 big catches today for the Griffs.
15-14 Seton Hill with 9 seconds left on the clock. Are you kidding me?
Seton Hill milling around. Let's see what they're going to do here. They may take a timeout.
What a ball by Cruz.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised. I mean, you know, you see Cruz throw the ball. I'm following the ball, and then I see Phillips wide open in the end zone, and he just drops it right in there. I mean, that was pretty awesome. Again, it wasn't a thrilling game. It wasn't, you know, real back and forth, but the Griffins were able to come back, man. They were trailing 14-3 going into that final quarter, and they win the game 15-14 on that. That was pretty cool.
Sometimes it just takes one win to get the ball rolling. We'll see if the Griffins can keep it up this week. That'll do it for Plays of the Week. We will take a break. When we come back, I will talk to the head coach of the Franklin Regional Panthers, Lance Getsy, after his team's thrilling 3-0 victory. They've got a big game on the horizon as well in Big East Conference play. That's upcoming next right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network's Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
D'Annunzio's has been making family favorites for almost 50 years. Of course, we have our classic pizza, pasta, and chicken dishes, but we also have luncheon and dinner specials selected by our kitchen staffs. We welcome you to join us at any of our 3 locations, Jeanette, Monroeville, and Latrobe. We're open 7 days a week. D'Annunzio's is on social media too. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and visit our website, DeNunzio'sRestaurant.com.
I feel like it's definitely very important, like for high school, because a lot of kids, get peer pressured into drinking and doing drugs. So like doing the events like in a school setting, I feel like definitely like try to prevent kids from like going to like parties and drinking and driving and doing drugs and being peer pressured.
We just want to, talk about the dangers of the substance abuse in our community, and we want to help be a part of stopping that.
We continue here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron. We appreciate Lance Getsy taking the time in his office because he is working so hard in preparation for what is a massive game against Gateway, but it's got to feel good. I know coaches don't really enjoy wins as the season goes along for maybe more than a few minutes before they shift their attention, but a big win from him, and I always appreciate him taking the time to talk to us. Well, from one interview to the next, we're going to talk to the Ligonier Valley quarterback, Bowie Schreyer, momentarily. And Flick, for I think the first time that I can remember, a Ram won the voting.
Absolutely. And what's funny about that, Sean, I was looking at the stats when we were putting out the nominees, and, very easily we could have nominated both Jablonowski's and Schreyer as well, because of we mentioned this earlier in the show, just the great numbers that they put up, but then they start taking votes away from each other, and I don't like to do that. I like to just nominate one player from one team, and Bowie was just absolutely tremendous. As you mentioned earlier, 255 yards to the air, 4 touchdowns for a team that does not throw the ball very often traditionally in that victory over Shadyside Academy. But we mentioned this kid too, Damari Robinson had a nice night for Derry, ran for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, had a couple of catches as well. And Kyle Dupill, he may not have scored a touchdown, but he helped Franklin Regional control the game and also certainly helped them get in position to kick the winning field goal. He had 169 yards on the ground in the Panthers' win over the Wildcats. To be honest with you, not a lot of great performances this week. There was a lot of low-scoring games for Westmoreland County. So Samir Crosby, who basically nominated every single week, was not nominated this week after what Clareton was able to do to the Centurions. But don't forget, you can vote for who you think will or should win Player of the Week each and every week on our social media pages and westmorelandsports.com.
Well, that's setting the stage now for a very highly anticipated interview of Ligonier Valley. Bowie Schreyer, the quarterback, will be talking with Dan Flickinger after a very quick break right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
I am the swiftest creature alive. I can make it. I will make it.
That's where we come in. A Collision Shop by Jason Mignon is your one-stop shop for all things auto body repair. Our experienced technicians and state-of-the-art facilities have you covered. Body repairs, refinishing, glass replacement, and more. Our friendly office staff is happy to assist you through every step of your vehicle's repair process. Visit thecollisionshopbyjason.com for our complete list of services.
Westmoreland on the Gridiron continues here on the Westmoreland Sports Network, and it's my favorite part of the show is I have a chance to talk with our Westmoreland Sports Network Player of the Week. He is our Week 3 Player of the Week, Bowie Schreyer, a junior quarterback from Ligonier Valley. Last week in a win over Apollo Ridge, he went 9 for 11 for 255 yards and 4 touchdowns. Bowie, welcome to the show. Congratulations on winning Player of the Week.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump right into it. A ton of stuff for us to talk about. First of all, you guys exploded for 42 points against Shadyside. Big numbers for not only you, but for Mark and John Jablonowski as well. What went so well offensively for you guys to put up the yardage that you did?
I believe what went so well for us is, our line did really great this past week. They blocked really well on the run. They blocked really well in the pass. They allowed me to have time to make my reads. The receivers, they found the open spots they needed to go to allow me to make the throws I need to do. The running backs, they kept running the ball. They allowed the passing game to open up a lot more. And overall, we just played really well and we played as a team. We did all of our jobs that we needed to do, and we got the job done.
Well, you're very smart to mention the offensive line first. Did you guys get them like pizza or anything?
No, we don't, but I'm going to definitely get him something.
How much confidence does it give you personally and maybe the offense going forward that, you can go off in a game if you need to and score 42 points and throw 4 touchdown passes?
It really gives us a lot of confidence. As you probably know, last year is we were a run-based team. That's what we mainly did. And it really showed that we can pass the ball too. So now we have 2 threats, running the ball and passing the ball, and it opens up for a lot more opportunities to score in the games.
Not only last year, but traditionally with Ligonier Valley, more of a running style offense. But was that something in the offseason that Coach Beidel put a little bit more emphasis on in terms of throwing the ball a little bit more, or is that just kind of how it's worked out so far this season?
He definitely put a larger emphasis on it. We would do practices up at Iron Horse over the offseason and the winter to work on those pass plays and develop our skills and learn what we need to do.
So you threw 4 touchdown passes last week, and when we bring on our player of the week, I always ask, if you had a favorite one and if you could take us through the play. So was there one that kind of stood out above the rest, and can you kind of take us through it?
Definitely the first one to Cameron Kunkel. That was just like amazing play. We're lining up, and I see no one's covering him. So I start getting a quick count, and I get the ball, and I just throw it to him, and he had an amazing reach for the touchdown, and it just really got the energy going, and I feel like that's a great way to start the game.
Yeah, definitely set the tone, and you guys scored, I think, on your first 4 possessions, I believe?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so that's a great way to start the game. So you mentioned, obviously, Kunkel's big catch, but talk about your relationship with Mark Jablonowski, if you could. 8 catches for 202 yards for him. Really, all 3 of you guys could have been nominated this week for Player of the Week with the numbers you put up. But talk about your relationship and kind of how you guys found each other so often last week.
Just me with both Mark and John. We've known each other for 6 years. I've been playing basketball with them since I was in 5th grade. And we've really had a strong bond. You got to have that quarterback and receiver bond too. And I've never seen anyone as athletic as those 2. They're truly just freak athletes. And I am truly blessed to be able to play with them because they're just so fun to be around.
Talking with our Week 3 Westmoreland Sports Network Player of the Week, Bowie Schreyer from Ligonier Valley, junior quarterback after the Rams beat the Shady Side Academy Bulldogs last week. Bowie, I got to ask you what your favorite part is about playing football. What attracted you to the game, and what do you enjoy most about it?
Definitely the thing I love the most about it is the brotherhood. I don't believe there's another sport like it out there where you come as close together as you can be. It's just amazing to see how close people can become to each other. Like, it is a family where we all have everyone's back, and that's just what I love about it.
Now, when you're not practicing or in school or playing on Friday night, what are you doing? What are some of your hobbies away from football?
Obviously, I like to play video games with my friends as any other teenager. One thing some of us like to do is we like to go out to Dino's every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's a great team bonding event. They got great wings. It's just a great way that we all enjoy to come together as a team and grow.
Are you a sweet and hot guy, or do you like a different flavor?
Definitely sweet and hot.
Yep, got to go with sweet. I go triple timed as well. You throw that in?
Okay.
Yeah, nothing like Dino's wings for sure.
Yeah, nothing like them.
One of the interesting things that Coach Beidel talked about when we talked to him before the season started was the emphasis in the weight room in the offseason. Do you see yourself progressing as well as the rest of the team in the weight room and hitting those goals there?
I really did see myself progressing. We had a motto coming out of the season last year after a tough season, and it was all in. We had to decide if we wanted to be all in, and the people that weren't all in, they were gone. We got them out of there. And I'm really happy with the team that we have now because they are truly all in. They don't miss any important events, and they're always there, even if it's optional. it really has shown how much we've grown from a tough season like last year. And for me personally, in the weight room, I have seen a lot of growth. Every one of my weights has went up significantly. I've gained about 20 pounds of body weight. Our team, every month we do like a lifter of the month where you'll receive a belt. And I was one of the winners of that belt this past off season. So that was a huge accomplishment for me, and it really gave me a lot more confidence.
No, congratulations. You put a lot of work in the off season, and it certainly is showing during the regular season. So that's great. Happy to hear it. And I know we've kind of maybe touched on this a little bit with your responses, but what's it like for playing for Ligonier Valley? I know the community is such a big supporter of the football program. Friday nights have to be special over at Weller. What is it that really makes you excited about playing for Ligonier Valley?
It's just truly an honor. Like, I wouldn't want to play for any other town. It's such a great town. The people are so involved in it, like you said, and it's such a great program. We've had a great winning program, and it just shows like a lot of how much we love the sport as a town and community.
Yeah, for sure. I know they turn out. Now, your brother Broderick was a standout at Ligonier Valley. He's now a sophomore at Grove City. What did you learn from him, and do you guys talk pretty often during the season?
Yeah, we do talk pretty often. He has access to my Huddle account, so he watches all my games on there. But we do talk a lot. He's been a great mentor. Even like whenever I was a freshman, he was a senior, and now he's really shown me how to grow and how to take over the mantle that he left for me as quarterback. And he's just amazing. I would not be in the spot I am without him, and I'm super blessed to have him.
Now, when he watches your Huddle and digs into your Huddle, does he like text you things that maybe you can improve here or improve there or that kind of thing?
Yeah, he does do that a lot.
Typical big brother, man, but he's watching out for you, and he wants the best for you for sure. One final thing for you. You guys look to keep this thing going. You take on Our Lady of Sacred Heart this Friday. Can you kind of tell us about, some of the things maybe they do well or what you guys need to do well to come away with a win?
They pass pretty well. Their quarterback, he's committed to Akron, and that's going to be a thing to stop, but we have a plan set, and I feel like if we execute that plan really well and we do our jobs, we'll be able to pull through with the win.
And I lied. One final question. Coach Beidle's been at this for a long, long time. Ligonier legend. What's it like playing for him?
It's amazing. He has so much enthusiasm when it comes to the sport, and he knows a lot about it. And one of the things that I really like about him is he obviously wants to play to win football games, but he really wants to raise us to be great men. And that, I feel, is one of the most important things to come from a football coach, is to see your players succeed in their lives and not just high school football.
Bowie, you did a great job with this interview. Congratulations, and go get a win on Friday against Olsh, okay?
All right.
That is our Week 3 Westmoreland Sports Network Player of the Week, Bowie Schreyer from Ligonier Valley. Coming up next, we'll preview Week 4 games on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
Drive like a champion with Bowser Chevrolet of Monroeville. You're always on the winning team with Bowser Chevrolet. Visit BowserChevrolet.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get the power of Bowser in your hands. Customize your payments, apply for financing, get a value for your trade and more with the Bowser Express Store. See the full lineup of Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs at BowserChevrolet.com. Bowser Chevrolet, where the power of Bowser is yours.
Play It Again Sports in Greensburg is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices. Located in the Greengate East Plaza, below Walmart. Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare for every athletic season. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or trade, we are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays.
Welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron. Final segment here as we look ahead at the Week 4 preview. But first, we appreciate Bowie Schreyer, the quarterback of Ligonier Valley, for taking the time to talk to us as our Player of the Week, as voted on by the fans. Well, Flick, we mentioned that the vast majority, or at least I would say more than half of the teams in the WPIAL began section play last week. There's some others that begin it this week, and there's some really marquee matchups, whether it be in conference play or outside. Several that we will have broadcasts of. Let's run down some of the big ones. Norwin at North Allegheny. We mentioned that the Knights are trying to bounce back. It's not going to be easy at NA, which just knocked off Hempfield area a week ago. The Tigers, back-to-back WPIAL champs. They are 4-0. And by the way, they have maybe the best kicker that the WPIAL has ever seen. Our colleague Roger Downs was telling us all about Peter Natoro, who is probably going to at some point set the all-time record for longest field goal in WPIAL history. A big game in Class 1A in the Eastern Conference. The Leechburg Blue Devils 4-0, including 1-0 in the conference. The Jeanette Jayhawks 4-0 and 1-0 in the conference. This is going to be a fun one where we're going to have video coverage of that. And Flick, this is really with GCC maybe down a little bit, this could go a long way towards determining which team might be the biggest contender for the Clareton Bears in this conference.
Yeah, this is really, really big, and the Hawks would love to have some momentum going into that game against Clareton, which is on the horizon as well. But you certainly can't overlook Leechburg. They're undefeated for a reason, and I'm sure the fans will turn out at McKee on Friday night.
By the way, a Leechburg alum, Braylon Lovelace, got a big victory with the Pitt Panthers as they came from behind to knock off WVU in the backyard brawl. A matchup of teams that really had been on tough times in recent years, but both seem to have turned things around here in 2024. Ambridge area at Greensburg-Salem. Of course, the Golden Lions trying to move to 5-0 on the campaign. The Bridgers coming off of an impressive victory last week against Mount Pleasant. We will have video coverage of that one as well. The same can be said about Indiana area at Derry area. The Trojans 2-2, looking to get another victory, and the Little Indians are 1-3 on the campaign. We will also have coverage of Franklin Regional at Gateway. We talked to Coach Getsy about this one. The Gators seem to be a team that always kind of is a little slow out of the gate, but they peak when it really matters. Gateway, certainly a team to be reckoned with. Both these teams 1-0 in the Big East Conference. 3 teams went to 1-0. 3 teams went to 0-1, and Armstrong was the team that was idle last week. So the winner of this one will be in a good spot at 2-0 in the Big East Conference. Pittsburgh Central Catholic at Hempfield area. That is a 6A matchup as the Spartans looking to get something going. But again, they're playing the cream of the crop when it comes to 6A in the Vikings. They are 2-2 on the campaign, but they won decisively a week ago. Penn Trafford at Kiski area. This really is a make or break game already, I think, for the Warriors, Dan, for them to get to where they want to. They're going to have to find a way to knock off the Cavaliers, who are on a long home stretch right now. We know Kiski area can put up some points with Heinley and with Cusick, but for Penn Trafford, I think they have to find a way to really limit the penalties and pretty much eradicate the turnovers that loom large.
That's exactly what killed them last week. I mean, they were able to move the football on the ground a little bit. I mean, Tasso Whipple didn't have a huge game, but he did enough where, I think that Penn Trafford really could have won that game last week had they not made so many mistakes with penalties and things of that nature. Certainly the 4 turnovers for Johnny Louver was also a big deal. So, if they can eliminate those things, I think they'll be okay. But again, you have to show that you can do it. And again, as you mentioned, Sean, with how good this conference is, no slight to Kiski for sure, but they're kind of looking like a team that is better, certainly, but maybe one that's going to finish towards the bottom of the standings. You can't afford to lose to the Cavaliers. And for Kiski area, this is a massive, massive opportunity for them to stay alive.
Hey, you fall to 0-2, and it's already behind the 8 ball, just, not even more than halfway through the season. So certainly a massive game there in the 5A Big East Conference. Speaking of that conference, Greater Latrobe will need a bounce back effort. They will try to do so against Armstrong. The Riverhawks were the lone team that did not play in the conference last week. So they are 0-0, 2-2 on the season. I know people saying, that no one's talking about Armstrong as a real contender, but they're a good team as well. They've made some noise over the years. Wildcats are 3-1, but most notably that one loss was in conference play. Burrell looking for its first win of the season. The Buccaneers are 0-4. They will be against Freeport area. That's a good AK Valley showdown against the Yellow Jackets, who are 2-2 and 0-1 in their conference. This will be Burrell's first conference game. Ligonier Valley, we heard from their quarterback, riding high offensively. They at Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. The Chargers have been a very good program for many, many years, but they are 0-1 in the conference and just 1-2 on the campaign. So we'll see what Roger Beidle's outfit can do against OLSH. Brentwood at Greensburg Central Catholic. It will be interesting to see how this plays out. Brentwood's a team that really we don't know a ton about. They were the newcomer to the Eastern Conference. They dropped down from 2A where they struggled at times. They're 2-2 and they won their conference opener. The Centurions, of course, we mentioned, they lost their first conference game. So we'll see how GCC can bounce back. This is a must-win game, it feels like, for them. Fort Cherry at Monessen. Many people think the Rangers are the favorites in Class 1A, either them or the Clareton Bears. They have Matt Sigg, a do-it-all type player, going against Monessen, which is 4-0. A lot of eyes will be on that score. A marquee matchup outside of conference play, South Fayette at Bell Vernon area. The Lions are roaring at 4-0. The Leopards trying to bounce back after they had that loss against McKeesport last week. Bell Vernon, of course, been there, done that, but it is to a large degree a new cast of characters trying to prove that they can be amongst the WPIAL elite once again. Laurel Highlands at Mount Pleasant area and Southmoreland at Ringgold. Don't underestimate the Rams. They're playing some good football despite the fact that they're just 1-3. They took Greensburg-Salem to the limit last week. The Scotties 3-1. They will try to bounce back. York at Blackhawk. Remember, the Cougars knocked off Southmoreland last week. York is 2-2. They won 2 straight, followed by consecutive losses. Valley looking for its first win at Quaker Valley, which is also looking for its first win. The Vikings are 0-4. The Quakers are 0-3. And a couple of college matchups this weekend. Westchester at Seton Hill. You mentioned that Westchester 0-2, whereas the Griffins coming off of their first win. They are 1-2. That will be a game that we will have coverage of noon kickoff at Offutt Field on Saturday. It'll be a busy 24 hours at Offutt, by the way. We'll be there on Friday night for Greensburg-Salem. And then Grove City, a team that is absolutely rolling. By the way, shout out to Jack Jolly with the Westmoreland alum Q&A. He, a big part of Grove City's success at St. Vincent Saturday at 1 o'clock. Flick, thoughts on the week that's upcoming or anything else that you want to highlight?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Aaron Smetanka, first of all, St. Vincent head coach, for getting their first victory of the season. He lives just a couple of houses down from me. I got to give a shout out to him.
You go shake his hand?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I never see him because he's probably always on campus. But anyway, also want to give, I mentioned this earlier, Sean, but our thoughts and prayers to Bob Yeager, who had the medical emergency there at Franklin Regional. Certainly best wishes on his recovery. And really excited to be back at Offutt for high school football on Friday. I personally will be at Derry running things over there, but you and, well, Chris will kind of have it under control. But I think you and Matt Palumbo will probably more or less have it under control. And we just tell Chris not to mess things up. So that should be exciting. It's always fun to do games there, Sean, but the high school football really brings out the community. And, I'm sure it'll be a packed house for an undefeated Greensburg-Salem team. I'm really looking forward to seeing that take place on Friday night.
Is Chris Smith going to be like a regular on halftime shows now?
Well, I won't be there, so he'll probably try to hijack the mic. Maybe, hey, put Matt Palumbo on. Matt can, now he's more of a volleyball guy, but, he can talk football.
Yeah, I'm going to go get some snacks or whatever during the half, so I'll let them, those guys do whatever they want. Lastly, Flick, I know we always talk about the fact that it's not just our broadcasts that we have, which, by the way, you can always go back and watch on demand. We go back, 15 years for games if you really want to dig. But there's a lot of other content that we have all throughout the week, football and many other sports.
Yeah, absolutely. We have new content every day. And actually this week, you had a chance to talk with the new Greensburg-Salem boys basketball coach, Paul Sapochny, returning to coach Greensburg-Salem. And that was a cool interview, an article that we have up on our site this week. But we have the notebook for you every Monday. Sean does a great job breaking down all the games on on Friday. Our recruiting Thursday this week, Kendall Berger, who's heading to Clarion. She, of course, plays for the Norwin Knights girls basketball team. So we have a whole lot of content going on during the week. And, of course, our scoreboard at the top of our homepage every Friday night. We light that thing up, and you can check out all the scores as games are happening, and certainly our social media pages as well.
Absolutely. Well, Flick, I think we've done enough for this week. Do you agree?
I agree. Hat tip to you, my friend.
For now, we will step away, but of course, we'll be back next Wednesday. You know where to tune in, the Westmoreland Sports Network. You know when to tune in, 7 o'clock for Westmoreland on the Gridiron. For Flick, Sean Myers signing off. We'll catch you again this Friday with a full slate of games on the Westmoreland Sports Network. And, of course, next Wednesday right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
Good night.